Good morning, children. How are you, children? I hope all of you are fine. Today, class for ninth class, subject is biological science. Children, we are discussing about the lesson animal tissues, and in that one, we discuss about that one epithelial tissues, and that one connective tissues, adipose tissue, areolar tissue. Okay, we are discussing about now one of the connective tissue, blood. Blood also called as connective tissue because when you examine the blood under the microscope, we observe different type of blood cells including red blood cells, white blood cells and blood platelets. Okay, you know that one in our body heart pumps the blood throughout the all body parts. So in total day, the heart continuously pumps the blood to whole body parts. The blood has mainly three type of cells. One is red blood cells. Second one is white blood cells. Third one is blood platelets. First of all, we are discussing about that red blood cells. Children, red blood cells are called as erythrocytes. Okay, why we call these cells as red blood cells? Because a red color pigment called as hemoglobin is present in the red blood cells. So that's why the blood will be appear in a red in color. That's why the blood will be appear in a red in color. Okay, in the cells the hemoglobin pigment is present, so it is appear in red in color. In the hemoglobin the central atom is iron. What? Iron. So we must take iron rich foods. Iron rich foods. So when we take iron rich foods, it stimulates the production of blood in our body. So without iron, our body cannot synthesize that red blood cells. And you know that when you examine near about 1 ml of blood, in that one 4.5 to 5 millions of red blood cells are present. Okay, when you examine 1 ml of blood, and we will observe approximately 4.5 to 5 millions of red blood cells. You know what is the major function of red blood cells? The major function of red blood cells is nothing but transportation of oxygen and nutrients to all body parts. Okay, why? Because nothing but in red blood cells the important pigment called as hemoglobin is present. So the hemoglobin pigment only carries the oxygen and nutrient to all body parts. So in lungs, the hemoglobin of red blood cells is combined with the oxygen and forms the oxyhemoglobin, and this oxyhemoglobin only supply the oxygen and nutrients to each and every part of the body. Okay, and you know that one in red blood cells any nucleus is not present in all mammals. Okay, in red blood cells any nucleus like structure is completely absent, but the mammals like camel and llama that have red blood cells with nucleus. Okay, in the mammals like camels and llama, the red blood cells have nucleus. The red blood cells have what? Nucleus. So this is about that one what red blood cells. The red blood cells are also called as erythrocytes. Next children, we are discussing about that white blood cells. Okay children, the white blood cells also called as leukocytes. Okay, the white blood cells are called as what? Leukocytes. So the red color pigment hemoglobin is absent in the this type of blood cells, and mainly these white blood cells are classified into two types. One are granulocytes and the second one are agranulocytes. Okay, the leukocytes are classified into two types. One are granulocytes, the second one are agranulocytes. Okay, again this granulocytes are divided into neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils. What? White blood cells or leukocytes are classified into two types. Okay, one are granulocytes, another one are agranulocytes. Okay, so again in granulocytes we observe three types of blood cells are present, that are neutrophils, basophil and eosinophils. What? Eosinophils. Normally when we are injured or wounded, at the time these which one? Eosinophils, basophils and neutrophils are fight against with the microorganisms and sacrifice their life and died. This will be appear as in a form of pus. ఓకే, మనకు ఏదైనా చిన్న దెబ్బ తగిలినప్పుడు చీము వస్తుంది. వై? బికాస్ నథింగ్ బట్ eosinophils, basophils, neutrophils fight against the harmful microorganisms and sacrifice their life and form pus upon the wound. Again, the leukocytes are also classified into agranulocytes also. Agranulocytes. So, in the agranulocytes also we observe two type of cells are there. In agranulocytes also, how many type of cells are there? Two type of cells are there. One are neutrophils, the second one are monocytes. Okay, in agranulocytes also we observe how many type of cells? Two cell. One are lymphocyte, the second one are monocytes. Okay, lymphocytes and monocytes. So these lymphocytes play very important role in immunity. Means nothing but because of the presence of lymphocyte only our body fight against with the disease causing microorganism. Means nothing but the lymphocytes guard our cells, అంటే కాపలా కాస్తాయి మన సెల్స్కు. whenever the foreign material అంటే ఏదైనా బయట పదార్థం or harmful microorganisms are enter into our body, immediately they fight against with the harmful microorganism. That's why these lymphocytes are called as a microscopic policemen. That's why these lymphocytes are called as what? Microscopic policemen. Okay, that's why the lymphocytes are called as what? Microscopic policemen. Means nothing but here you know that one security guard is there in front of the gate. What is the duty of that one security guard? He does not allow any unknown person into the gate. Suppose he have doubt on any suspicious person, immediately he close the gate and refused to enter that person into the gate. So he got means nothing but he gives security. So same type of function are played by the lymphocytes. Here lymphocytes also guards our cells from foreign harmful microorganisms. Next, another type of agranulocytes are monocytes. So suppose if the lymphocytes are fail in their function, at the time a few number of harmful microorganisms and disease causing microorganisms are enter into our body. At the time these monocytes moves very fastly. At the time these monocytes are moves very fastly and which like amoeba and engulf the harmful microorganism. Engulf means nothing but complete గా harmful microorganisms ను మింగేస్తాయి. In this way, this monocytes protects our body from the harmful microorganism. So especially the main function of even we observe the granulocyte functions or agranulocyte functions, they play a very important role in the immunity system. Means nothing but disease resistance, means nothing but because of the presence of white blood cells or leukocytes, okay, we have immunity against the diseases. Suppose the white blood cells number is decreases, at the time our body fails to fight against the harmful disease causing microorganisms. Okay, you know children, the lifespan of the red blood cells are only 120 days. Means nothing but ఎర్ర రక్త కణాల జీవిత కాలం 120 days. So means nothing but hardly 4 months. Then how the new red blood cells are generated in our body? In adults we observe approximately 5 to 5.5 liters of blood is present, and you know that one the red blood cells lifespan is only 120 days, and every time the new blood cells were produced from the bone marrow. Ante when we observe the structure of the bone contain hollow portion. So the hollow part of the bone is called as bone marrow. So every time the bone marrow produced the new red blood cells into our body. So whatever it may be, we lost the red blood cells. At the time the new red blood cells are produced from the bone marrow. So you know that one to strengthen bone we must eat calcium rich food. So why? Because nothing but calcium is a major component of the bone. So if the bones are healthy, then the bones can produce the red blood cells at a optimum rate. So the bone marrow is important for the production of new blood cells. And you know that one every time the continuously the red blood cells are died in our body. So imagine children, you know that one whenever a person is dead, we immediately send the person into graveyard అంటే శ్మశాన వాటికి తరలిస్తాం. At the time we bury the person, అంటే అక్కడ సమాధి చేసేస్తాం. So here also continuously in our body the red blood cells are died. Where this died or dead red blood cells are sent. So all dead red bloods are deposited on the surface of the liver. సో ఏవైతే చనిపోయిన రెడ్ బ్లడ్ సెల్స్ అనేవి కాలేయం ఆ లివర్కి పంపించడం జరుగుతుంది. సో the liver is called as nothing but the graveyards of the blood cells. అంటే ఎర్ర రక్త కణాల శ్మశాన వాటిక. Okay, that's why the liver is called as what? The graveyard of that red blood cells. Compared to red blood cell, the lifespan of white blood cell is very less. The lifespan of white blood cell, even granulocytes or agranulocytes, but the lifespan is very less. The lifespan of the white blood cell is only 12 to 13 days only. Why? Because nothing but the harmful microorganisms are present everywhere. In air also we observe that when harmful microorganisms are present, and you know the children, upon the surface of our body and upon the surface of the floor, in the water also we observe that when this is causing contaminating microorganisms are present. Every time the white blood cells fight against this harmful microorganisms. So that's why the lifespan of white blood cells only 12 to 13 days. After 12 to 13 days, the new white blood cells are produced in our body. So compared to all white blood cells, the number of basophils and lymphocytes are very more. Okay, and this monocytes number are very few in that one. Okay, so you want to know about that one percentage of that one, you want to collect the blood reports of your family members. Suppose you want to know which type of information is present in that one blood report, you have to collect the blood reports of your family members or you or your friends and relatives. So you get an idea. Okay, so this is about that one blood cells. Besides the red blood cells, white blood cells in our body, platelets also presents. Platelets also presents. So in red blood cells we didn't observe any nucleus, but in white blood cells means a prominent nucleus are present. Okay, in red blood cell we didn't observe any nucleus, but when we carefully observe the white blood cells, we observe different shapes of nucleus are present in the white blood cells. So in the platelets we didn't observe any nucleus, but we observe that disc-like projections are present in the platelets. So this in Telugu we can say the platelets meaning is equal to Rakta Falakikalu. What? Rakta Falakikalu. So the platelets also called as thrombocytes. What? Thrombocytes. So children, sometimes we are injured or wounded. At the time we observe that when the blood stream is coming from the wound or injured part. So if continuously blood is lost from that wound, all blood is gone from our body. At that time we reaches to the death stage. So how do we prevent this process? Because of the presence of these thrombocytes or platelets. So whenever the blood vessel is injured, immediately the platelets are accumulated at the place and forms a net-like structures and seal the wound. Whenever the thrombocytes or platelets seal the wound, the bleeding is stopped on a particular area, and the further loss of blood is prevented from that area. If the platelets are absent, at the time we observe continuously loss of blood from that area. Okay, so this is the importance of platelets. Suppose if the platelets are not present means nothing but we observe severe bleeding from the wounds, and the wounds are not healed in a proper time. అంటే పుండ్లు త్వరగా మానవు. So but you know that one in diseases like dengue and in some anemia disease means raktahina disease, the number of platelets are gradually decreases, and it may be fatal means nothing but ఒక్కొక్కసారి మరణం కూడా సంభవించవచ్చు. So at the time we have means doctor administrated the platelets into our body అంటే ఆర్టిఫిషియల్గా ప్లేట్లెట్స్ ఎక్కించడం జరుగుతుంది. సో ఇన్ దిస్ వే we protect from our, so the blood also very very important role. Okay, even we observe that one it is liquid, but all type of nutrient oxygens are supplied through the blood only, and we are not getting that particular disease because of that presence of white blood cells, and the wounds or injuries are cured in a proper time because of the presence of platelets. So these are the functions of all blood cells. Thank you, children.